Welcome back to the Wildly Capable Show. Today we're going to be talking about something a little close to home: content creation
Mm,
as a mom, content creation as a stay at home mom who is also a work from home mom because she creates content. It's a
mm.
funny little loop that you might find yourself stuck in. And this conversation is going to be two-part. The first bit of this, I want to talk about if this is something that you are thinking about doing perhaps in the new year or in a few years, maybe when your kids are older. Let's talk about whether it's a good idea for you or not. I want to weigh the pros and cons of content creation as someone who's been in this space for 4 years. I'm still a little baby creator, but I have some feelings about it. I have some things to say, and I'd love to hear Joey's opinion too. And then the second half of the conversation is really going to dive into okay, if this is something that you want or desire or can see yourself really enjoying, let's talk about ways to do it well. Let's talk about ways to be wildly capable. It's the name of the show. So that is today's conversation. I don't really have a ton of notes. This is going to be a lot of conversation between me and Joey. We've talked about this at length, but I didn't want to outline and have this be as sterile of a conversation as it could have been, I feel, if I had written down my responses, because I really feel like there's a lot of emotion around content creation, the mom influencer, the millennial influencer, any of those categories, or that can either make you be like, ooh, that's interesting, or no, immediate disregard, turning off the show. So, yeah, that's today's conversation. Excited to dive in. And I think we should get right into the conversation of, should you be a content creator or not? What are some of the pros and cons? What do you think?
My brain goes immediately to how you define a content creator.
Yeah, that's good.
And so, we even had a funny discussion at the beginning of this that was recorded, so we could plug it in there if you wanted
We
to.
could plug it in, but I probably won't.
She won't.
You can repeat
Of
it for the audience, though.
So, there's this line of, are you an influencer, are you not? And sometimes it's based on are people's feelings, or do I have the community that I need to be an influencer? Do I have enough followers? But really what I would say a content creator is anyone that's influencing decisions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's health-based decisions, it's parenting decisions, it's art, it's something around nature, it could be purchasing, it could be influencing. You're an influencer, right? Content creator is just, I create content. And both of those tend to go kind of along with each other, right? But for the sake of this conversation, we're almost talking about a side hustle or career within social media where you are speaking to a following of people and making a career out of that. That's what we're talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
Would you give it any other nuance or definition that would help people understand?
Well, something I like to the way I like to think about it is content creator is someone who typically is creating unique content themselves. So, they're writing a meal plan for something, or they're developing a methodology for parenthood, or they're creating pieces of information around motherhood mindset. Thinking of specific people I follow on YouTube that do specific YouTube videos about these things. That kind of content creation is I have something to say about a specific topic. It's unique or an original thought to me. Then that becomes sort of my brand, and all of the things I do are pouring out of that. Versus what I think the word influencer means is that you're partnering with external brands and discussing product. Is that how you think about it?
I think it could be thought that way.
Yeah. And they can cross over. You can be a content creator who also talks about brands that she loves and uses every day. That's very normal. You can be an influencer who maybe after she has developed enough successful brand partnerships, she then becomes creating content, a content creator around becoming an influencer. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Those two can kind of weave in and out. But I think for the average, and I'm speaking very specifically to the stay-at-home mom who's thinking to herself, I'm at home. Is this something that I could do? Is there an income here for me? Is this something that I would enjoy? I feel that she would more fall into the category of content creator because she's going to be sharing something uniquely from her home and her perspective. I don't think the average stay-at-home mom should expect to be an quote influencer and partner with brands when she doesn't yet have something that she's also speaking about uniquely. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
I think that's a misconception, and maybe that sounds like a little harsh, but I'm sure brands want to work with micro influencers all the time, and that would be like the 5 to 10,000 follower account. But in general, I think the more enriching experience, at least for me, is like having things that you own, that you create, that stem from passions that you have. And that's really where I would start this whole conversation is like the answer of should I create content on social media and share it to an audience, no matter how big, can be answered if you say, do I have a passion I want to talk about? Is there a through line in your life? Is there something that you would enjoy creating content about? And then you worry about all the other nitty gritty, like how do I film and post and da 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 at the second half of the conversation
Mm-hmm.
today. But I think that's a big question to ask. And I almost want people to pause there because there's a difference between I want to homeschool my kids and be an amazing mom and I want to film myself homeschooling my kids and being an amazing mom, and I want to do curriculum reviews, and I want to have their faces online, and I want to talk about their struggles academically in a public way. Like if the other part of that is not something you want, then maybe that's not your main focus for your content creation. Maybe your content creation is around creating a peaceful home. Maybe you've developed like really streamlined homemaking routine that you can share with people. I'm thinking of, again, other creators that have like really poured into this is my cleaning routine on a weekly basis. This is how I think about managing my household tasks. This is
Mm-hmm.
how I plan really intentionally for holidays. They create a guide and then they share that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a unique piece from their little heart sharing. And there's ways to do it, right? Where you're not sharing too openly. Maybe you're not showing every bit of your house. Maybe you're not showing your kids' faces online. But all of that comes back to the passion that they have. Maybe their passion is like, I have a passion for community with women. And I know a lot of women feel isolated. And if I can be someone digitally that they can connect with, that makes me happy. You know? What else?
So for me, it has a lot to do with, should you do this or should you not? I'm thinking of why are you choosing to do this and defining that, understanding it. Are you doing this because you want to be quote unquote famous? Are you doing this because you want to be known? What is the success, metric for you?
Yeah.
Have you defined that? You're a stay-at-home mom or dad, or you are looking for a side hustle, or you are looking to get into something else. What is the purpose? What's the objective? Why are you doing this? Okay. And so if your reason is that you want to have a creative outlet, amazing. This is a great place for you. Just do your thing and post your content and continue pushing forward and staying consistent, and you'll be super happy and super excited. It's so easy though to get trapped into the kind of whirlwind of, man, success actually looks like a lot of followers or a big community or a lot of people, a lot of eyes. And while there can be different metrics of success found within larger communities, and we'll get to that, the reality is that the content creation passion and creativity element and the growth are oftentimes at odds with one another. Okay. I want to grow my account. I need to do things that are very by the book, playbooked, strategy, tactical, intentional. But then there's like the authentic, creative, do my thing side. Now, sometimes this side blows up. I would call this the unicorn. I'm just sharing my whatever. And it just so happens that people went nuclear over that thing. Okay. I'm going to reference some influencers. And if you're not on Instagram, you're not going to know who these people are. And that's okay. There's an influencer. His name is Ashton Hall. He's a guy. I see him. He's in my algorithm, very masculine, high testosterone kind of like content. And so if you're a woman, you don't know who I'm talking about. I get it. Ashton Hall, it won't be hard to find him on Instagram. He's been growing like crazy. I've been watching some podcast interviews that he has done recently to kind of understand his tactic, right? And so for him, growing influence to expand his reach, to grow his business, which is like coaching in some capacity. I don't actually fully understand it, but that was his intention. He wanted to grow an account. And so what he did was he created incredibly intentional content only to grow, creating reels where there was no voice with no words so that any language could understand what was happening and relate to it. There was no language barrier. That's a huge thing.
Yeah, that is huge.
Another thing was that it was very ASMR. So it was very like easy on the ears, something that you'd like to listen to, something you'd like to watch. He would spend an entire day filming like a 30-second reel, entire day. And sometimes more than that. just to create a reel that he would post online of him and his daily routine. And these daily routines went extremely viral. It was him stepping out of a fancy car and then, going to the gym and then brushing his teeth and then wiping a banana on his face and then like doing a shaving routine and then dunking his face in a bowl of ice water, but the water was Saratoga water, and it's this whole thing, right? So then he would like drop the bottle and it would smash on the ground. And okay, that's growth. And so he did not just like all of a sudden pop off because he was sharing like pictures of his farm. It just didn't happen. He is a business person first, and a content creator is the way he's kind of identified his business growth strategy, positioning, etc. Okay, so anyways, that's a very long-winded way of saying you look up that kind of that case study of blowing up, growing really aggressively, going really quickly. Now, the folks that have grown almost by just like chance, just by based on content that they've created that they happen to share without the intentions of growing an Instagram account, initially at least, you would be one of those examples, okay? Where you created a book, a resource that you wanted to use for Sophia for homeschool.
Yeah.
And then you thought, you know what? I'll post it to my little following of people on Instagram. If anybody wants it, they can have it.
Right, exactly.
And then like people started sharing about it because they're like, this is so cool. Okay. That would be an example of like, oh, wow, that just kind of happened.
Yeah.
Okay. We didn't go into this initially and say, we want to grow an Instagram account so that we can have an influence, so that we can create a podcast, so that we can talk to people, so that we didn't do that. Now, that's been the hard thing for us to learn as we get into the kind of the next phase of this discussion. I don't want to go there yet, but
you're right.
When you start out with that creativity, almost translating or converting it into something can be tough. Now, the cool thing is that with content creation, whatever your dream is, it's all appropriate. That's what I want to say. Your dream could be, I want to grow an account like the Ashton Halls or the, I don't know, what's the guy that, it was Flav City for a long time. He's changed.
Bobby something.
Very intentional. I want to grow an account.
Bobby Parrish.
That's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
And he did it. And it was very successful. And that's very appropriate to want to grow an account that way. I'm just thinking of people that this community would know. I'm guessing people in this community have seen the guy that stands in Costco and talks about the different things you can have that would be good or that you can't. But like there are almost like playbooks of growth that you can lean into and cherry pick ideas from, like, hey, I'm gonna take some ASMR ideas here, or I'm gonna take some like morning routine ideas, or I'm gonna take some this or this versus that routine, like that kind of stuff, right? That is all out there for you to take, but identifying what that is so that you know what success looks like is very important.
Yeah.
Should you do this or shouldn't you?
That's it's interesting too, because you said like he probably took all day to film his quote morning routine. And while he probably does a lot of those things in the morning, even when he's not filming, that is not an accurate representation. It's not in real time.
Exactly.
It's not a reality TV show of his morning routine. It is a curated piece of content. And yet, both can be authentic. And I think this has been one of the biggest learnings for me personally, because I've always been that person that's like, I'm just going to video what I'm doing. And then however it looks, I'm going to post it. And now I'm following a lot of creators, and I see Instagram moving way more towards this more curated content piece where people are actually filming pieces of their day on a camera and then putting it into an app, making it into a reel. But the example that I'll say is the one we were talking about the other day of like, I was home drinking coffee yesterday morning, and I was like, oh, I could like make a reel or post a story or something about like, here's to all the moms who are drinking their coffee alone while their husband's in the deer stand, because I wanted to somehow speak to someone who's like me. Okay, that was my motivation. And then I stopped and I was like, well, that has like a hint of like victim mentality, I'm going to say, like, woe is me. Oh, someone's going to see this and be like, wow, Liz is home alone a lot. It's like, that's not actually what I wanted to portray. So I didn't post it. I didn't even record it. And in my head, I was actually doing my journaling, and I thought, what would be a better thing to communicate for this piece of my life that I want to share? And I said, I am going to instead create a video where I'm making myself just a beautiful breakfast and film that, and let the content that I show online be making myself a luxurious breakfast while my husband is in the deer stand, because the actual thing, the actual feeling I want to portray is that, like, even though you're home alone a lot with your kids, you can still enjoy your day, you can still have a good time. Your husband doesn't have to be home for you to feel like, okay, I'm good. Like, I've really been trying to lean into that a lot this year of like, I can still be okay and make good moments out of my day, even when I'm solo parenting a lot of the time. And while it seems like, oh, well, and I actually yesterday I did make myself, like, right after I had that thought, I made myself a great breakfast, but I didn't film any of it because I was like, this isn't the moment for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to just rush this. I want to create a piece of content that conveys a message with a purpose. And I think that authenticity doesn't have to, I wrote it down. What did I say earlier? Intentionality does not negate authenticity. So I can intentionally film that reel knowing ahead of time what I'm going to post on social media. And that doesn't mean that's not an authentic thought. It is authentic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually way better for me because I'm almost like taking my thoughts captive and not just posting random stuff of like, here's to all of us alone all the time. Our hunter husbands are always in the woods doing, and then it leans into this like negative narrative of like, the men always get to leave. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not at all what I would have meant if I
Mm-hmm.
posted that, but
Mm-hmm.
that's how it would have come across. And I think that's the biggest thing I'm learning currently is like, I have to check how my things are coming across, because even in my own thoughts, I might not be even realizing the undertone there. And instead, I want to be a little more, I want to take charge more of my own mindset and
Mm.
thought process. And I want to be a positive mom, and I want to be a positive, like, stay-at-home mom even when her husband's gone a lot, you know? The holiday market is live, you guys. I am just hoping and praying that the inventory that we have accounted for is enough, because our lineup is probably my favorite we've ever done. I think this is our third year being open during the holiday season, and every year I try to curate a new holiday market with new items, things that I think you'll love, things that I've been using in my home and loving. One of those includes our favorite beeswax candles made right here in Ohio. I've been burning this candle for, geez, I don't know, 5 years, 4 years. These candles are my absolute favorite, pure beeswax, handmade in Ohio, just like about an hour or two from us. They're so gorgeous. So we have handmade beeswax candles, adorable little mini plates with custom prints on them, a little chicken, a little moose, a little cowboy boot. We have all new soaps. So we have a sea salt soap that's so moisturizing and refreshing to the skin. It's got hints of juniper and some other sort of like spicy, earthy senses and fragrances, all essential oil based, nothing synthetic in it. We also have a brand new honey and turmeric. I don't ever know how to say that. Body bar. It's wonderful for hands and face, but you can, of course, use it all over. Beautiful bar. It's shaped in a flower kind of cutout. So you'll see that on the website as well. Gosh, I know I'm forgetting things, but go over to shoptheh.com, H as in Haselmayer, and you can find our holiday market. There's a banner at the top of the website. You can also find it in the main navigation. And all these new arrivals are here for the holidays. I hope you guys love them as much as we do. And you can use the code Homegrown at checkout for 10% off. Ancestral Supplements Black Friday sale is currently live from now until December 2nd. This is their biggest sale of the year, 25% off site wide, and an additional 10% off recurring subscriptions. You can cancel them anytime you want. But this Black Friday deal is the best time to try an organ-based supplementation. If you haven't tried it, if you're not supplementing your whole foods diet with the cleanest organ supplements on the market, Ancestral Supplements Black Friday sale is the perfect time for you to try. I personally love their mineral supplement, their digestive enzymes, their beef liver, their colostrum, and their collagen. There's so many more. You guys know we're obsessed with the protein powder. Everything on their website is currently 25% off. Go over and check it out. Or I have a link in the description of this podcast, ancestralsupplements.com.
It's funny you say that, and I've been thinking the same thing. I'm going to give another example just to really push this home for people to understand what we're saying. And it's that you have this weird tension as a content creator oftentimes where you want to be authentic.
100%.
However, portraying authenticity intentionally can feel like you've just blown the authenticity of the thing.
Yeah, like you're being fake.
Exactly. So, and I feel the same way, right? So I've been really feeling passionate about trying to create content around my running, right? Running ultra marathons or training or community, the community aspect of running and how healthy that is for men, and like guys that'll reach out to me and say, hey, running in the morning, right? And just the connection that I feel with like earth and God and spirituality and just being in the woods rather than like on a track or something, right? It's good. It's great. It's the same thing with hunting. And then you watch these videos of runners that do the same thing, right? And it's like, oh my gosh, they clearly like stop to like set up a tripod or whatever, to like run past it. And you're like, that is so lame. Like you cringe when you think about it. But then I think about that. I'm like, well, I'm trying to portray what I'm doing. And how do you do that? I'm actually doing it. Like I am actually out there doing the thing.
Right.
And so if I want to capture that thing, eventually I'm going to have someone pull their phone out, get ahead of me, see me run past or run with me, or like that's going to have to happen.
Mm-hmm.
What have I opted for thus far? Just videos of people running with the same song over and over and over and over again in my stories, because I cringe so hard at like creating the content that would actually be valuable for people to resonate with.
Yeah.
No one resonates with a headlamp bouncing off the dirt path at somebody's feet for 10 seconds. But
yeah, that's great.
the reality is that we are doing that thing. And so I definitely want to do more of that, and got to get past the it's like the relaxing morning routine. If you're creating content around a relaxing morning routine, it's not relaxing. That creating that content in that moment was not relaxing. But this moment that we've created within the content is what we're striving for. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So,
And it's not like it can't always be. Like there are ways to film your day or showcase something in your life that you're like, I did actually have a lot of fun in that moment. Like think about the deer video I just posted. You videoed me. I didn't even know you were videoing me at first, walking up to the deer I had just killed. And like that's a moment where like you videoing didn't take anything away from it. I didn't even know the camera was on at first.
if there's anything I'm good at, it's very very poorly curated content.
Yeah. No, but like you took that video of me walking up to my deer, and like that video means so much to me because it captured a moment I would have never been able to see myself. I was also in the moment seeing this deer for the first time. Like you can see the shock on my face. So it's not like it's always not reflective of that moment, but oftentimes it's more telling the story of what our ideal is, or telling the story of how we want things to be. So yeah, I think that can go a million ways. And one of the things we were talking about before is like content creation is so wild because there's no clear path into it. It's not like, well, you have to go get this degree or go get this thing, or
I think there can be.
What do you mean?
I think there can be clear paths into it if you choose it and you know your why and what you want.
Oh, yeah. Yes, but I'm saying it's not a singular funnel.
Oh, I hear you. Yeah. It's not like, yeah. I'm sorry. You don't go to school for content creation and then you get the job and then, no, okay.
What if that does become a thing, though?
I think it could be.
You think like e-media will pick up like influence, like content creation?
Honestly, I think that schooling somebody on how to do content creation is not that far off, and nor is it that crazy, because it's becoming so studied. It's been around long enough now. I feel like even I understand it enough to where I think I could get somebody from I have nothing to an idea on how to grow something.
Yeah. I mean, I can see it in like a coaching format, but like, I mean, like you go to college to become, that'd be wild. It might happen though. Wilder things have happened. I mean, that's probably how they thought about like you go to college to like become a farmer. It's like, well, yeah, there's agricultural sciences here. Like, not that those are always representative of what nature actually wants, but interesting concept. Anyways, that was a side tangent. Anything else on like pros and cons?
Oh yeah, I don't think we've even gotten into the cons that I think about.
Oh, okay, then let's get into it.
I think it's like, hey, define what it is, define what you want out of it, and then the pros. Yeah, it can be a great outlet. Pros, you could make money off this. Like you can make money as a content creator. And there's a number of different ways. We'll talk about some of those, I think. I'd love to go as into the weeds as you want to in the next section. let's talk about some of the cons. It's like having a baby. It's like starting a business. It's like having, it is always around. It's a constant thing. It will never relent.
It always wants more from
It
you.
always wants more. You're rarely in a situation where you're ahead of the game,
Yeah.
if you will, where it's like, oh, well, this thing kind of runs itself. That is not true. Content creation will never run itself. You will always run that thing, and you will have the ups and downs of emotions like you've never believed. And some of those, will be the highest highs will be, you had a post that went viral. You had a really beautiful piece that people resonated with.
Someone you love and adore followed you.
The con is, or the lows of that are like, you work really hard on something, but people don't resonate. Or you put a lot of effort into something and nobody cares. Or, get to a point where you've got some people that you've never met before that are interacting with your content, and, surprise, surprise, they don't like you, or they think that you are dumb, or, what's the thing that you get all the time? Holier than thou. The people that think that, it's appropriate to reach out to another human being and tell them just horrible, vulgar things about who they are, their beliefs, whatever. Right. And so if we get a small dose of that, people that are in, much larger, bigger platforms than us, it's just like, that can only grow. That can only grow. So you start getting some hate from people, like real hate. I don't mean like, someone gives you a bad review. I mean like someone hates you and you don't really understand it. Like, why does this person hate me? It's weird. And it happens. And it's like, okay, I'm sorry that, we've done something that has offended you so greatly. And that's definitely a con. Now, I would say some people get affected by that more than others. For some reason, it doesn't really bother me. If anything, it kind of like gets me jacked up. I get kind of fueled by that. Whereas you're like, you see a bad review, you're like, I'm ready to just burn this whole thing. I'm done.
Yeah. Well, that taps into like I don't like being misunderstood. I despise it. Whereas I think you're like, yeah, I mean, it's easy to misunderstand me.
All day.
Like, I think
I don't
you're
know
like,
that I understand me
I think you
sometimes.
expect people to have some level of misunderstanding, and you kind of like that. You're kind of like, yeah, I don't really want you to know like how I do everything, because like,
Yeah. I don't
kind of
get
my
bothered.
edge.
I do not get bothered.
I get bothered. I'm like, I need you to understand my intention here, and this was not my intent, and it's ridiculous. Neither, it's not healthy. I'm not saying it's healthy, but
Content creation, another con can be that it's really a never-ending journey. There's not like I'm going from A to B. It's not, you don't ever reach B. You don't ever get
do you
to
think
the
you
finish
could
line.
though? Do you think you could create?
What define a finish line for content creation?
Maybe if someone says like, I'm going to do this for a year. Yeah, I guess you could put timelines on it. But even that is no.
So that's what I'm trying to say is that like, and the funny thing that we were talking about before this even kind of started, or well, we did start, but before you're going to allow the content to continue, the things you'll cut out that we said earlier on in this episode was around Cristiano Ronaldo, soccer player. He biggest Instagram influencer on the planet. He's got the most followers. And I was like, maybe he feels like he's reached the top. Maybe. Doesn't really seem like it. He pushes so hard. He does podcasts. He's working. He's, creating YouTube channels, creating original content, collaborating with other influencers. I'm like, okay. And he plays soccer. So he's still a professional athlete.
Yeah.
But, maybe he feels like I don't necessarily need to grow my content more. I don't know. Who knows?
He's not a Jerry Seinfeld. I feel like Jerry Seinfeld has said, you know what? I'm good.
Yeah.
Does he even tour right now?
Yeah.
I don't know if is he still touring? Well, he probably does it because he likes it. He likes being in the action, but like we've talked, he doesn't do interviews. He's not like trying to like grow his awareness.
Not that I've seen. Yeah. It's so true. Except for like late Tonight Show, things that he used to do in his early career.
But even that, when he's on those shows, he jokes about how he doesn't like being on those shows.
He does.
His most recent interview was like, you guys brought me here. What do you want to talk about?
That's right.
You told me I should talk about a vacation. I should do a joke on it. He's like, that's insane. Like, it's funny. That's like the Seinfeld effect of like, I'm good. Yeah, that doesn't really exist in the content creation world. Other cons, I would say, if you have if you're growing your family in the midst of this, I think a con can sometimes feel like you're on your phone a little more than you would be. There's so many ways to negate that. You don't have to be glued to your phone. But even me, as someone who like doesn't have my phone on me most of the day, and anyone in my personal life knows that because they text me and I never answer. My kids still to this day will be like, "Why are you on your phone?" And I literally say like, "I'm writing a caption and then I'm putting it down." Or, and sometimes posting something takes 5 seconds, sometimes it takes 50 minutes. It's just different every time. But that's a con sometimes. If I didn't have young kids in my house, I wouldn't see that as a con. I'd see that as like, normal
Mm-hmm.
business responsibility. But with little eyes watching you, it's just something to be aware of.
The volatility of being a content creator is kind of like summarizing everything that I was talking about before into like one kind of compact, concise word. The success can feel so successful that you may make decisions that you regret later, because then it can vanish in a moment.
Mm.
It's not the security of being an influencer can look very well. Once you reach this point, you're set. That doesn't exist. I've talked to people with 5 times the following we have. It just doesn't exist. At least not that anyone that I've met. There is no reach this point and then certainly financially, but like growth and content being evergreen. You constantly have to be evolving and growing and adjusting your approach, or otherwise what you're putting out goes stale. People don't care anymore. That just happens. So what you have today as an influencer could be gone in the blink of an eye.
Mm-hmm. So true. Even just tactically, like your account could get hacked.
Yeah.
Like you could lose everything.
Yep.
You don't own the platform on Instagram. It is truly borrowed land. So like you hope that you're also creating an email list and doing these things, or
You could offend somebody and then you lose. Yeah, it's all kinds of things.
yeah, you could make one wrong move. It's funny, even this week I sent you Hannah from Ballerina Farm addressed. She rarely addresses any negative publicity or comments. And even this week, she felt like she had to put out a video talking about a lot of the hate that they're getting specifically around this like one cutting board and people just not understanding how businesses can be run, especially in online retail. And so she was like, you could tell that like video was making her nervous to speak. She was even like a little bit out of breath when she's talking, which happens when you can be like, I got to deliver this message. And I could just see in her eyes a desire to be understood, and how when you have an account that large, there's just so much that people don't understand. So many assumptions people make.
Yeah.
And
And we'll
so,
get into why that's happening.
yeah.
Yeah, I know why that's happening.
Okay, let's talk about it.
You want to jump right there?
Yeah, I do.
All right. So, how to be a content creator. So you've defined at this point, I want to grow. I want to be a content creator. I want to be an influencer. I want to grow a platform. I want to talk to people, etc. Okay. So, one tactic that will work, and I'm jumping ahead here, but like one tactic that will work, and this is not where I would start, but is finding virality within the industry. Finding, you could call it newsjacking, you could call it piggybacking, you could call it copy paste. You look at somebody like Hannah from Ballerina Farms. Hannah's her name, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you recognize that a lot of what's surrounding Hannah is viral currently. And like I just said before in the previous kind of couple sentences, that could go away in an instant, even for her. Okay. She could go in a direction, start promoting something, and it could douse the flame tomorrow. She knows that. We know that. It's just how it could happen. There is no I made it. Okay. And so because it's currently has that kind of like aura around it, um, it is very smart for people to wield her content to help boost their own. Okay. So Ashton Hall, when he was popping off, if we had done almost like my version of the Ashton Hall morning routine, there would be natural virality around that because people were already drawn to it. So if I post my hot take about Ballerina Farm right now on Instagram and I say, hey, you know what? Actually, after watching this review, and you might even put her review in the video to even boost your virality even more, right? And you put your face on the side and you say, hey, you know what? I just watched this conversation, or this statement that Hannah made about the hate she's been getting around her cutting boards being too expensive, and oh my gosh, she claims that she never got money from her father-in-law, but in reality, like, it goes without saying that their family is made of money and blah 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 blah. I don't think it's appropriate that they come across as they're whatever, right? Whatever people would say back. I don't even know what people
That's exactly what people say.
Okay. It's just so, I mean, that's almost like a playbook I could write for somebody.
Yeah.
And I have nothing but respect for Ballerina Farm.
Yeah.
As a business owners
absolutely.
and as content creators, I think obviously they're crushing it. And if they're just doing better than you and you're sad about that, that's probably why you're hating on them.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, if I had to write the playbook, it'd be like, oh, woe is me, must be nice.
How can we attack her
exactly
for what she has?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people probably never run a business in their entire life, have no idea what things cost, have no idea what it takes to create things that are actually made from products that aren't like shipped in, which by the way, if things are getting shipped in right now, we'll be the first ones to raise our hand and say that like those kinds of things can cost egregious amounts of money. We sell coffee at Haselmayer Goods, and it's like we're just seeing prices go up. We're seeing we're seeing it. Yeah. And so the playbook there, newsjacking or copy paste, finding something that is culturally relevant and repackaging it for yourself with your own initiative, your own mission, is a spectacular way to grow a platform. And a lot of people, that's just what they do. So example, like the king of this, his name is Jordan the Stallion 8 or something like that. He's the king of repackage and then put my spin on it. And he's got a comedic way about him. And now he's creating some kind of original content, but he's the king of, there's a video of somebody doing something that kind of went viral. And then like, it'll flick to him in the mirror and he's like zooming in on the mirror of himself talking about that thing in a funny way. And then he'll like maybe do it himself or find it and buy it himself or go to the restaurant and try it himself.
But he's always reacting to someone else's content?
Almost exclusively. And he now is like a huge major influencer doing collaborations with celebrities. And
that's funny.
And like that is his, and so that repackaging, what are my thoughts on Taylor Swift's new album? What are my like me reacting to I don't know, whatever a song on Taylor Swift's album would be and how I feel about it. Yeah. Anyways, Exposed. Joey doesn't listen to Taylor Swift very much. So that would be an example of trying to grow your account. That is why Hannah's getting a lot of hate. There probably are people that do actually feel a certain kind of way, but I would say a majority of the influencers that are posting about her cutting board are foaming at the mouth over this opportunity to grow their platform.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because there's going to be people with Hannah that have a lot of love towards her and people that don't like her. If I post something controversial on the internet about this thing, it's going to generate a lot of interaction, which will then boost my post to get an even larger audience because it's got so much response. People are gonna be like, oh my gosh, you have no idea what it's like to live in a farm like she did, and she worked so hard for everything she did. And there's gonna be other people who are like, yep, she's just made all her money through JetBlue or whatever, and then people pontificate and boom, they blow up. Funny thing is, a lot of this hate in a way is also kind of helpful to Hannah, and so her putting out this statement will likely do nothing but just boost everything up even more. And it was probably a strategic decision by her and her team.
Yeah. Now, she might not need to put a video out.
That's right. She probably didn't want to.
Oh yeah. I can tell she didn't want to.
But it's probably a tactical move to continue the momentum, but also there might be some addressing some things in there that have potentially been exposed that she didn't want to be exposed.
Sure.
Another person that is a newsjacking content creator is Candace Owens.
100%.
That's all she does. She doesn't create original content, really. She will take something that is viral, something that is controversial, and she will just beat that thing into oblivion. And it absolutely works for her. So I don't need to go any further on this. You want to grow an account, you want to grow a platform, you should be considering this at some capacity. Now, how extreme you go with it, right? Should you go out and be Candace Owens?
Probably not.
Yeah. But can you post about your thoughts about XYZ? Totally appropriate. And will it work? It probably will.
Yeah, I mean, early days of Homegrown, think about it. We launched in 2021. This was kind of like in the middle of COVID shutdown protocol. We never really addressed that stuff because politically it was way too hot at that time. But every kind of...
Well, we could have, and it would have worked.
We could have, but I decided not to. But now, on the other side of Maha, which is really weird even calling it that because it's really just... I don't even like that. But at the time, it was like, ooh, what's kind of controversial? Going back to freaking nature was controversial. So things like raw milk, everyone was getting into sourdough because they were locked down, quarantine. I'm in my kitchen, I'm baking. These things, not that I like specifically like started doing them at that time. We started our journey with raw milk far before that, but I knew if I put out a post about raw milk, it would go off. I knew that at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't like attacking another human or going off of other people's content, but I knew in my head, hey, if I speak about raw milk and I give people a different perspective that they haven't heard before, that post is going to do well. Versus maybe a post about like, hey, we're running a sale today. Like those
Very
posts always do
similar
terrible.
followings to like lovers and haters of Candace Owens or Hannah or Donald Trump or Joe Biden or
Sure.
Kamala Harris. Like all these things are very that can be divisive. Also, can be very boosting from a content generation perspective. And so, looking at raw milk, very similar following. Right, you got people that hate it, and if I'm honest, I don't understand like the the raw milk like us versus them thing. It really doesn't make sense to
I
me.
understand it.
It's like we're looking at a commodity in our kitchen and we're gonna get fired up.
Because it's so drenched in politics. Like it's so
I
drenched
didn't.
in a core belief of nature
What
is not.
political sides are charged up about raw milk? Is that real?
Yes, I'm not talking about Democrat versus Republican. That's not
Oh,
necessarily what I
I
mean.
thought that's what you meant. I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing.
No, I mean more of like it's so the conversation around raw milk inherently is so about, do you believe that nature in its whole form is safe for people to consume, or do you think we've gotten to a point in this world where even that can't be trusted? And if that can't be trusted, we need a government to oversee what's going on. Not necessarily like a left or right government, but we need somebody governing what is safe for us, because we've gotten to a point in human history where like we can't even trust that. And like if you break it down there and because you go
Hmm.
back to these stories of like people died and it was terrible. And like people want to debate me and I'm like, no one actually wants to debate me. But like if you wanted to debate me, I would just take you back to the stories of what actually happened there. And then you compare the amount of people that got sick versus the amount of people that continue to drink it to this day, how it took us 100 years to make pasteurization actually mandatory. Like, so what was happening in that 100-year span? It was slowly being adopted. It's a new modern process. Okay, it's just a processed food. Milk at the grocery store is another processed food, unless you're getting it straight from your farm. And it's like the rhetoric, oh, the US government has done such a number on the rhetoric and discourse around raw milk. And that's why
But why?
I don't know that answer. I don't know why they have. Like, I don't know why we have to fight about milk. It's the dumbest thing. But to me, I understand why people feel so heated about it, because
That's
they're
interesting.
scared. And also, it comes back to this core belief, because, like, it's kind of the
Hmm.
same conversation of vaccines. Like, do I believe one thing or the other? And you can't have a mixed opinion. You can't say, well, in some instances, I believe this, and in others, there's nothing. That conversation is always either you believe in science or you believe in
That's
nature,
interesting.
and they're always competing and they can't overlap. And to me, I think that's silly.
I think the health responsibility measures should be governed, but by me. I'm going to govern that.
Sure.
And so if I'm going to
Well, this is currently, so here's a great
deem
example.
something safe for me, it's going to be me that deems that safe for me. And so if milk comes from the cow, I'm going to be the one that's responsible for whether or not that's safe for me. And that's where I think I think it's possible people get really twisted. I'm just thinking about this now, because if you use that same logic, you start applying it other places. That logic is what scares people,
Yeah, it's the
because
whole,
very quickly it goes into something that is political, and that would be like vaccines. It'd be like,
right,
oh, I'm going to decide what's safe for me. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. But government says that this is your schedule. This is what you have to take. Get your flu shot. And
right.
I'm like, you know what? I think the flu is not scary for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
For
not
you
scared.
personally.
For me,
Yeah.
that's what I just said. So for me, I'm not scared of the flu.
Yeah.
I'm not getting a flu shot.
Right.
You tell me I should get a flu shot, I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah. So, and here's the thing, like, this is actually, I'm seeing tons of posts right now about this. The split, it'll say what the Maha moms or what Maha voted for versus what their government is actually doing. And this brings the conversation again. I'm wrapping this back to the content creator
I'll get us
conversation.
there. You finish your thought.
But well, this is the thought. So this is a newsjacking thing. I'm seeing a lot of big creators post about it. And it's this thing of like, well, there's personal, like Maha is driven by personal health is your responsibility. But then there's also this larger thing that like we're like, honestly, government needs to have some say over public health, because I personally can't walk into a major corporation and demand that they don't poison me. Like that has to come from a higher power than me personally, individually.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Or like I have to have someone watching out for my public waterways. I have to have someone watching out for like, are you dumping PFAS on the field?
Here's what I was thinking about. If you allow people to manage and govern the things around you, it allows you to be a victim. It allows you to be a victim.
Yes, but
when something doesn't go right, or I get sick, or it's always someone else's fault. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take ownership of my own life. If I'm not in shape, if I'm like not the weight that I want to be, if I'm not the health that I want to be, if I'm sick, like if I catch some illness, that's me.
Sure.
If I drink milk and I have some reaction, me. I'm not blaming the government. I'm not blaming anything. And if you're constantly putting your kind of the responsibility of the things around you in someone else's hands, or some, pharmaceutical, or some, then it's like, it's someone else's responsibility, and I'm just going to be a victim my whole life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the emotion that I get kind of like roused up about, is that I don't think I get frustrated by the victim mentality.
I do too, but I also see the point of like public health has to be addressed. Like you can't have, and I'm not talking about public health means I force individuals to make a certain health decision. I'm saying public health in terms of like the water, the air, and the soil that is publicly shared. And the corporations or the organizations or the governing bodies who then use them, we can't just not have regulations. We can't just let people poison our land and then be like, well, I chose to not garden there. Like that doesn't work, because it affects us. It comes downstream.
Sure.
Like, so I see both. And I think right now, a lot of the content creators are tapping into this weakness. And I haven't even done any research to confirm any of it, but the growing narrative is that while the Maha initiative, which is high personal individual responsibility, I will care for my body. I'm not a victim. I can make decisions. I can feed my family healthy food. That is very good and wholesome and like makes sense. But also they're all rallying behind the current president, who is potentially not protecting public health on a wider scheme. You see the difference?
I do.
So it's like this facade of like, we believe in health and like no chemicals being sprayed on our food and cleaner water, but then we're laxing on corporate regulation. And it's like, that doesn't match up. And so the reason this is even in my mind is because I keep seeing posts about it on social media.
Honestly, if someone has to like celebrate the like Steak and Shake changing their oil out, I'm like,
why do you eat there in the first place?
It's shocking to me. Like, we are not winning with the Steak and Shake changing their oil out.
See, I feel like I can get excited about both.
Can you?
Yeah, I don't feel like that.
What's been an actual thing that's changed, that's been like an aggressive change that's, you think, really moving the needle?
In the real food movement, you mean?
Yeah.
I'm just saying I can get excited about people in a broader sense having access to better ingredients. And I can still say, you know what, I'm not going to eat Steak and Shake 5 days a week, but for those who are, good for them. I don't know.
I guess I could backtrack a little bit and say I like the adjustment of information that's being portrayed, right? So it used to be, this is what's true and you better believe it. We were all like, no, it's not. And now it's kind of like maybe heading in a direction of being a little bit more true, but not necessarily that all the systems are changing to keep us healthy.
Right.
I don't even know if that's fully possible.
Right.
Anyhow, finding passion around what you're creating content around.
Probably going to cut a lot of that out.
Really?
What we just talked about. I don't know. We'll see.
Anyways, finding passion about what you're creating content about. Incredibly important. Case in point, unless you cut it out. We just had a nice little tangent there about
a side tangent.
Raw milk and taking control of your own health and not being a victim. So
I'll leave it in.
I think it's a great example of finding a passion area so that you can remain edgy, right? Because you're constantly pursuing that thing. And you and I totally are. This is our thing.
Yeah, this is our thing.
Other how-tos.
Yeah.
So we talked about newsjacking. We talked about understanding the culture, the climate, the things that you're working on. I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Okay, because we jumped into that because we were transitioning into Hannah. And so we want to be a content creator. We want to start growing our account. What do you do? Okay, obviously you create an account, right? You understand the industry, you understand your passion, right? We just talked about that.
Before you even create an account, I would say, what platform do you want to be on? I might pick two.
Instagram, YouTube, all day.
Instagram and YouTube.
Probably
Yeah.
TikTok.
I would personally not, but you could if you wanted. But I'm saying the person should pick two. They shouldn't try to go on all at the same time.
That makes sense. The if we could do it over again, we would have gotten into YouTube sooner, I think.
100%.
YouTube's pretty cool. Big fan. Finding your why, finding out what you're passionate about, creating that account, understanding your platforms. That's great. Great call. And find the platforms that you're comfortable with, that you know how to utilize, right? The ones you know how to wield. I wouldn't dive headfirst into something you don't understand, right?
Yeah.
It's like jumping on LinkedIn. It's like, maybe not.
Yeah.
The next, right, is intentionality needs to be paired, and this has to be understood. Intentionality, and we talked about this a little bit at the beginning, as sort of like a pro con kind of thing, understandings that you might not know as a content creator. Intentionality has to be paired with creativity. Has to be. If I'm going on runs and I want to be a content, there's a reason why I'm not a content creator. It's because I stink at the intentionality side. I can do the thing, the passion. I'm passionate all day, but the intention's where I drop the ball with content creation. So going on the runs, I'm out in the woods, I'm doing the cool adventures, I'm doing the big, feats, I'm going on the hunts, but I'm not documenting it in a very satisfying and relatable way.
Like, how dope would it have been if you could have captured for YouTube your moose hunt?
Oh my gosh.
Like, that's the workaround, right? Is like people who don't necessarily want to capture it themselves, they bring on a filming crew. This is what every ultra runner who puts out a video after a big race does. They have a crew with them who's filming. Cameron Haynes brings a crew everywhere, every hunt. You, like other hunters, we watch YouTube all day. You can do that.
It's
that's a strategy.
Understanding how to make that cost happen, right? So tactically, how do you make that work? Well, there's a couple of different ways to do it that I've learned from other creators and that we've experimented with ourselves. One, you can just fund it, right? Spend the money.
We did that.
Pay the crew.
One time.
You can also split equity with the film crew and or person, right? Hey, come on this hunting trip with me. We're going to create this video. Any revenue we generate from the video, I will split it with you 50-50, or I'll give you all the revenue. Right? I just want the exposure or whatever, right? There's that kind of tactic. There is partnering with the outfitter or the company that would be receiving the kind of exposure by bringing the crew. There's ways to kind of like finagle a deal to make that happen, right? So that's one way to do that. So we're creating this film for this ultra marathon, and I don't have money to pay for a film crew, but it's a big deal and I'm going to do well. And a lot of people know my name. I have good exposure. People will watch this video, might get X amount of, I could project 100,000 views, which would generate, $5,000 a person. It could be 100,000 views. It could be 10,000 views, or it could be 1,000,000 views. I'll split it with you. Right. So there's a lot of ways to finagle that. But yeah, intentionality has to be paired with creativity. If it's just intentional only, it'll only get you so far. If it's just creative only, you will only make it so far.
This is where we are.
These are the differences. I'm gonna say that again for impact. Intentionality can only go so far before people don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Creativity you will only get so far before you get burned out and frustrated.
Yes.
Because you're not seeing the growth, you're not seeing the results that you want to see.
Yeah.
So I could give some examples of this. I don't want to call anybody out that they're doing amazing things, they're working hard, but there are people you would see online where it's like all intentionality.
Sure.
Okay? They're just posting to grow and make money, and that's it all day long. That's it. And then there's people that are all creative. They've got no real, well, you probably haven't seen these people before because you've ever discovered them, because they haven't put the time and effort and strategy and tactics into their content so that it can find its way into your algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
So
mm-hmm.
Those are the two things that have to be paired together. And it is tough to do that because typically people are wired one way or the other.
Yeah. I'm
Typically
definitely wired more creative. I don't really want to be intentional.
Yep.
And that's really where you push me a lot to be like, maybe you should plan things ahead of time.
That's right.
And that's why in the beginning when you're
capable of intentionality though.
I am capable of it. And like in the beginning,
I am not as capable intentionally as you are. I can't create the beautiful content that you can create. Not yet, at least.
True. I think you'll get there, or maybe I'll just start filming you. I don't
Either way,
know.
we'll figure something out.
We'll find something out. I feel like what if this is something of interest to people, because I feel like this conversation could go so many different ways. Do you think we should open like a Q&A and then like maybe do a follow-up episode?
Let's definitely do that.
Like if people want like, okay, but what does this actually look like? Or like what's an example of this? Or and I have so many people too, like that you could follow and learn from, people who talk to content creators about this. We hosted this thing called Creators Camp this summer where we brought in a couple of our favorite creators slash friends and just chatted, got in a room together because we were like, this is a weird business and it can be exhausting and we want to encourage each other. I believe in every single person that we brought to Cincinnati. Their mission is so solid and it was such a beautiful group of women. But like the reason we brought them together was because this is kind of a weird space and we felt like we had some pain points that we wanted to kind of
Also some things that we've learned.
work out.
Let me just run through some of these final things. Because if somebody's like taking notes during this, maybe literally no one's listening to this at all. I don't know.
Perhaps that is the risk of content creation.
But in case somebody's taking notes, like, man, I really want to be a content creator. I want to hear from Liz and Joey. Joey doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, but Elizabeth might know some things.
No one thinks that ever.
Anyhow.
Nobody thinks that.
Newsjacking, we talked about that. We talked about intentionality and creativity being paired together. A couple other ways of formatting posts to grow. I'm going to talk about those quickly. So this versus that, that's Bobby Parrish. Okay. Everybody knows what that is. Hey, don't use this sugar. Use this one. This is clean.
Or Vanny Hart. Vanny.
Don't know that one.
Vanny, the food babe.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah. This versus that.
Yes. It's I'm in the store. Don't get this one. Get that one. Or
the ketchup in Europe is cleaner or whatever.
I'm in my kitchen. I've got, raw milk and I've got regular milk and I'm looking under the microscope. This versus that.
No one does that. I want them to.
I'm pitting things against each other, right? I'm pitting things against each other.
Yeah.
I can drink this, but I can't drink that, right? This versus that. That's a huge thing that people that it does well currently, at least. It might not. This might not. Like you might listen to this a couple of years from now and be like, Joey, none of this stuff works. Yeah, well, that's how it works. Today is 23rd of November, 2025, to be specific. The next one is journeys. Okay. Come with me on my journey. Okay. We've done real food journeys. A big one that I've been watching is there's a guy doing like a couch to XYZ race, right? Couch to ultra marathon, couch to marathon, couch to 5K. Come along with me on my training. Watch me evolve.
Multiple month long.
Come along. Join me on my weight loss journey. Join me on my pursuit of. It's a journey that you wish you could do. This person's going to do that thing, and it's going to inspire you to do that thing too. Big in the influencer world right now. Totally works. Come with me while I take a skateboard across America.
Yeah.
Right. Come with me while I kick this rock until it turns into it can be anything. Okay. That is an actual account. Come with me while I kick this rock until it becomes a perfect sphere. And he kicks the rock every day across like concrete, and he's just kicking it.
What if you? Okay. Anyways, keep going.
I don't know. I don't follow the content.
So many questions.
So
okay.
That right. There is come along with me on my morning routine. Yeah. So the journey. So there's journeys. There's content styles. Okay.
Oh yeah.
There's rugged and rustic and raw, where you're kind of like, what would be an example of this?
You mean when you're not like particularly aesthetic and you're just showing, you're just throwing your camera on and just talking?
Jordan E. Stallion would be this way.
Okay.
He uses his iPhone. He's in a bathroom mirror typically.
Okay.
As he communicates, and he is crushing it.
Okay.
Crushing it. There's parody. There's comedians that will become comedians because they're a parody around. Their comedy is based off of somebody else's business. Right?
Well, or Jane, the Utah mom, is a parody account who blew up. She's over.
Really,
she's
really
almost
very
at 2
crunchy.
million. Really very crunchy. Also, but
Jason and Emily, they're doing parody really well. The one I'm thinking of is this guy where he does parody content around like the big like sales motivational high testosterone gurus.
Is this the IKEA guy?
No. That's he's like around retail. Also good though. But it'll be like a video clip of somebody saying like, well, you know how you make it in life? First thing you need to do is buy a 32 unit apartment complex. And from there you can build it into, and then it'll pause and he'll show up on the camera and be like, why not 100 person unit? Why don't we just start with 100 units and we can just 10X that, right? And it's funny because everyone's like, how do you even buy an apartment complex?
Right.
No one's resonating with what you're saying.
Right.
And it's funny. So
Yeah.
that would be an example, right? Easy parody content idea out there would be watch something that Paul Saladino's doing and then sit back in like your kitchen and be like holding some ingredients, like look down and be like, all right, how do I make my meal for my kids? And show your kids running around screaming. And like that could be a funny parody
Because
content.
he's like, I eat a mango and a raw liver. And you're like, that doesn't work for my
and
family.
then like show up to your kids and be like, all right, kids, mango raw liver. And like that would be funny parody content.
Sure, yeah.
Nothing that's discrediting what Paul Saladino is saying.
Right.
But it's funny because, it could be Liver King and it could be, parody. There's so many ways you could take potentially good ideas that are hard to relate with. Okay, I'm trying to think. There's other ones there. Definitely leave some Q&A for us so we can answer your questions about this. But content creation is tactical paired with passion. And I've just given a bunch of tactics, right? There's the newsjacking, the parody, the right, but you need to pair creativity with passion, and that is kind of like the formula for content creation. Okay, so we can dip our toes into monetization. Is that valuable for people?
I mean, we can touch on it, sure.
How do you make money as a content creator?
Yeah.
How do you make money? How do we make money?
Do you want to talk about this or do you want me to?
You talk about it.
The way people make money by creating content is either they have a brand deal. So they're like, hey, I'm going to create a reel. You're going to pay me this much money to create the reel and post it. You come up with that number based on your past engagement and all of that. You can make money off of like AdSense. Like I think YouTube and TikTok pay you, but Instagram, there might be a creator program. I always get emails about like your incentives are available and it's like $5 and my account's not even connected. So I'm like, I don't know. I think that there's some way you can make money on Instagram.
We're crushing, as you can imagine.
I'm not doing it. But people on TikTok absolutely get paid for their viral reels. You get paid for like views. And then YouTube, obviously, that's how a lot of the creators make money. Now, you'll also see YouTube creators putting their own brand sponsorships within the video. They'll say this video is sponsored by blah blah blah, and they'll show you opening up the thing. And I love doing this with my kids, and it's so fun. It's like baked into the video. But then also when the video stops and makes you watch an ad that you can either skip or you have to watch the ad to continue, that is YouTube's way of paying the creator and monetizing that way. So that's how people do it. You can also, what the term I really love is being a creative entrepreneur, which is more of what I do, is like you create something that then you sell. So there's this wonderful account. I love this girl. I forget her handle, but she talks all about how to budget and how she makes money as a content creator. But then she also has like a $5 budgeting spreadsheet that she sells. So she has a thing, that product that she made original, she created it, she sells it. That would be like our books at Homegrown. And then she also has just the videos that are posted to TikTok. And I don't know that she does YouTube, but those are the categories. You can create something digitally or physically and sell it. You can have relationships with brand partners. You can have a subcategory of a brand partnership would be more of an affiliate deal where you're not necessarily getting paid to create the content, but you have a discount code that you also get kickbacks from. Commission. So if if someone buys off of your link, they save money, but then also you get a small commission, maybe 5 or 10%. So those are ways that you can monetize content creation or having that's across YouTube channels, podcasting, and social media. So that's not just like short form.
100%. If you have really deep, specific questions about this, ask us. Because we don't know if people care about this, if they want to know more, if there's things that we can illuminate and help you understand. I think, spoiler alert, we do make money as influencers and content creators. And some of the primary ways we do that, shameless plug, is through our retail company, haselmayergoods.com, shop the H. Products, goods, things that we sell for you. We want to create true value that we are selling to you as much as possible. We also do brand partnerships. And we love our brand partnerships because we take an approach where it's, we want to partner with people. It does help that they give us the money, but also we use those things.
Yeah, 100%.
So as of today, we have never taken a brand partnership with anyone that we don't ourselves fully believe in and or use ourselves. And so Ancestral Supplements being that brand partner today that we love and we've been working with for over a year. So we're thankful for them.
Mm-hmm.
Super cool. Kids becoming influencers. This is our kind of final topic to discuss. And I think the best way to approach this is what I want to unpack the topic a little bit with you briefly. And I want people to ask us questions about this because there's so much to deal with here that we could almost have a whole podcast about.
I was going to say, should this be a separate episode? So I thought about this a lot. Can I just give you my answer and then you respond? If one of my kids came to me and said, I want to create content, I want to be a content creator, an influencer, whatever term they use, I would make them do the same thing I'm sort of suggesting to you is like, get a notebook out, figure out what you want to share with the world. Like, what is inspiring to you? And for my kids, it would be like, is it encouragement through the teen years? Is it a particular, finding clean beauty brands? Is it a particular hobby of yours? Do you want to, I don't know, do you have a specific talent you want to showcase? Hey, these are all valuable things that you can turn into content creation careers. And then from there, then you start to talk about, okay, well, what is my path to actually filming these things and sharing it? And if I'm sharing it, is it authentic and intentional, as we talked about? And then a very final point is like, you almost don't even talk about it for a few months, is the monetization of it. Because I think if you're going in saying, I want to make money by posting on social media, it's going to be not good. It's not going to be good.
Yeah. Making money on social media in any capacity is far more challenging than what it seems.
Yeah. So I think as it does with adults, I think starting with the passion, and for kids, that can be tricky because they are, we always say they're hamster brains, which might be offensive, but like they're still developing, right? So they don't have a full frontal lobe and they're maybe not considering that everything that's on the internet lives on the internet for a while, and make sure that it's an evergreen thing that they want, that they're going to be comfortable viewing in their 20s and then in their 30s. But finding that passion area, and then you enter into the whole, like, are they showing their face? There are so many good creators, especially around recipes or crafting or style, that don't even have to show their face. You definitely don't have to show your body. I would be talking about that at length with my kids if they were like, I think I'm ready I want to do this. What other considerations would you have?
I think you touched on them pretty well. I will interject that I am currently, and I'm willing to have my mind changed, but as young as they're capable of editing their own video and taking their own footage, we haven't done it yet, but I'm currently open to the idea of allowing them to begin posting things on like YouTube. I say this because the learning, the ability to learn how to do something like this, I think is really valuable, and not having like a finish line of being able to upload the thing feels like it detracts from the learning significantly. And that's my current thoughts. I haven't gone deep enough into it. I don't have a kid that's currently doing it, but if Ruthie came to me today, and she kind of hinted at it the other day, so it's kind of why I've been thinking about it. If she was like, hey, I want to create this video, here's my idea, and I want to post it on YouTube, I think I'd be open to talking to you about it.
Yeah, I would entertain that conversation, but I think I would be so strict on the type of content it was.
Sure.
Yeah, I'd have to think about that. But I agree with you. The process of filming something, editing it, and then posting it is actually a very valuable process. And I would even argue that content creation in and of itself, it has some, it's kind of low key, like public speaking. It's building confidence, learning how to form opinions or defend an argument or defend a stance on something. Those things can be skills that you
for sure
hone.
For sure.
Now, do you have to do it in public with all the eyes watching, or is there a way to maybe do it a little more protected? Probably. Those are the conversations I would have. I think we could, continue processing that. I think we should do a follow-up Q&A episode, and maybe we can answer more specific questions, because I feel like we dumped a fire hose of
I agree.
Information.
Will we reach out to people for that Q&A?
I could put a link in the description.
Perfect. Right on. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Till next time.